Alright, welcome back to a new video, and today we're going to be talking about the Misfits '06 card happening April 21st, obviously not April 22nd, for the sole fact the biggest fight is happening on that day, so they're pretty smart. But this one will take place in New Orleans, which I think is the first Misfits event held in the US. Very nice, and obviously it's going to be headlined by an American. It's JMX versus Levon Bell. The rest of the card I could care less about because it's basically just, how do I say, a bunch of leftovers to fill up the card. They're like, chasing their Murs back if you want to watch him. I don't. But, Wild Shark is back. But, there's another match which is very interesting, and that's because that is another fighter that fought on the same card as Levon Bell, Chris Avila. As you could tell, Chris Avila last fight obviously was against Dr. Mike in the Anderson Silva Paul card. Very one-sided match, but whatever. And Levon Bell fought on that same card against Uriah Hall. Unfortunately, Uriah nor Dr. Mike will be returning on this card. Very sad to see. But we do get Chris Avila fighting a professional boxer, which is, it's basically in the middle of professional boxers between someone like Pineda and someone like Tommy Fury or something. Because Paul Bama was obviously the dude that was supposed to fight Tommy Fury on the Deji Mayweather undercard, but something happened, contract, whatever, so he switched. But now he'll be fighting, obviously, Chris Avila, which that will be the first match we'll be talking about. Then we'll talk about the main event. So Chris Avila is also a professional boxer. Chris Avila in professional boxing has 2 wins and 1 loss. Paul Bamba, on the other hand, has 5 wins and 2 losses. So, very much not the same, but he has won 4 by way of knockout and lost 1 by way of knockout. So, basically, 1 of each didn't come by way of knockout. But when you look at his record, he's also one of those professional boxers that they build up, right? They give him people like, look at his record. 0-4, 0-3, 0-4, 2-12, 22, and 20, which might be good because a lot of experience, but at that point, 20 losses, you trash at that point. I'm sorry, but you can't trash. And then 1-4, which he did lose by split decision, so that says a lot. And 0-2, it's very interesting. So he has power, but he also loses to people who have very little experience, and the only experience that they do have is losing. And Chris Avila, although only having 3 fights, he also has somewhat a similar record, 0-4 and 1, 2-2, and someone that debuted, which was obviously Dr. Mike. So he lost his debut, beat someone that's 2-2, and beat Dr. Mike. So who do I think is gonna win? I think Chris Avila. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not choosing Chris Avila because he beat Dr. Mike, therefore making me now want Chris Avila to win. But because first of all, Paul Bamba, although he has power, you could tell his fights are not really against go-getters, right? People who have dogs in them, right? Basically, Tommy Fury, if he never stopped fighting his first 3 opponents, right? But one of the only things that I do have to say about Chris Avila, he has no knockouts. He only had 3 fights, and having no knockouts is kind of bad. But then again, when you look what he did to Dr. Mike, I don't know if that's Dr. Mike having heart or a great chin, or Avila not having a lot of power. But one thing he does have is knowing how to spam moves. He was just constantly catching Dr. Mike with overhand rights. Why? Because most influencer boxers don't know what to do. But real with you, most of these fighters do not know what to do when someone spams a move. So, that's one thing he has. He also has somewhat distance control. Obviously, to constantly land an overhand right from that far away, you gotta know your distance. So who do I think is going to win? I say Avila. I think Avila wins decision. Obviously, I don't think he's going to knock out Paul Bamba. Paul Bamba is not going to get knocked out. But it is going to be a very interesting match because it is a 50-50 fight. Because Paul Bamba could come back and win. But, considering his opposition, is basically just going to be another, it's basically where both can't knock each other out. Right? So that's it. I got Chris Avila via, I say, unanimous decision. I don't think it's going to be a split decision. But now it's back to the main event. JMX versus Levon Bell. Which everyone says Levon Bell sucks. But first of all, no. Now, first of all, JMX fights influencers. Let's get that straight. He fight nothing but influences. I don't even know if he even fought an athlete, because people always like to make fun of Paul and all that stuff for fighting people who don't know how to fight. But at least he fought an athlete. You know, when people making fun of him, like Nate Robertson, at least he knew how to train. All influencers mostly know how to do is hit the gym. So completely different. But Le'Veon Bell, I think he only has 2 fights under his belt. 1 win, 1 loss. 1 win via knockout and 1 loss via, I think it was unanimous decision. But his 2 fights speak more volume than anything. Because he fought against Adrian Peterson, which was another running back, which is an athlete, by the way. Although he was a football athlete that was retired, meaning he has sustained his own fair share of head injuries, still an athlete. And his second fight, although he lost, I thought he did pretty well, and that was against Uriah Hall. And I thought Bell could have edged it out, honestly, but he didn't, because he didn't do a lot. He just kept jabbing. He has a good jab. I'm gonna be real with you. He has a good jab up and down, the body jab. Come on, that's gonna take away the power from JMX. And not to mention the way he knocked out Adrian Peterson. He did whoop. I don't know if that's a feint or whatever the hell, but he just looked like he went for the body, and then it boom, just hit him on the head, and knocked him out. Do I think it's gonna be a 50-50 fight? No, it's a 60-40 fight for Le'Veon Bell. Why? Because if GMX starts pressuring him, you know, by just running up on him, I don't think Le'Veon Bell can do much. I mean, Bell didn't really do much against a Hall, but Hall is an ex-UFC fighter, so that speaks more volume. Although it wasn't them Tyron Woodleys or something, people did say Hall had a lot of potential as a UFC fighter, so you never know. So yeah, that is the end of the video. I got Chris Sevilla via unanimous decision versus Paul Bamba. 50-50 fight. If you choose Paul Bamba, I will not blame you. Then we got the main event being GMX, who, first of all, like I said, I don't even know who he fought. And it's not like, is there even a Misfits, his own Misfits like record holder? Alright, so actually doing a little bit of digging, yeah, there actually is a YouTube box rec, which is really weird. So he stands at 3 wins, no losses, 2 KOs. The 3 fights being against Mike Fox on the KSI versus Joe Weller undercard. So, you know, not to mention he is an ex-MMA guy, but I don't even know his MMA record, so I would assume not very good. And then he fought some dude named Coach Richard. That's crazy. Why is he fighting a coach? But he won that by this box rec suck. I'm gonna be real with you. It doesn't even say how he won. Alright, so he KO'd Ginty. But Ginty knocked down GMX. So, you know, and who has not been knocked down? Le'Veon Bell. Come on. You're really saying who's gonna win? I mean, throughout the videos I ever made, there's a common theme going around, and that is, when you put a UK guy up against an American, do you honestly believe that the British guy is gonna win? Not to mention, the event is being held in the US. That's just spelling trouble for GMX. GMX is getting knocked out. I'm sorry. He's gonna get baited, and he's gonna get knocked out. Simple as that. So like I said, I got Avila unanimous decision, and Le'Veon Bell, of course, winning via knockout. I assume in the 3rd round via overhand right. Very solid predictions. But anyways, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, there are 3 other events being held on that weekend, April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Although there is nothing on the 23rd, but on the 22nd there is a lot. 2 fights being held in Great Britain, that being the Rakhmedov versus Cordina, where Cordina will attempt to become a 2-time IBF Super Featherweight Championship, as he lost his belt via injury, which is the dumbest thing ever, but whatever. And the Kingpin tournament, which you may be saying, Kingpin, well, it's another influencer event where 8 influencers fight for a spot as the king of the influencers, basically. It's really cool because everyone's going to be fighting on the 3 events being held. I think is this April 22nd, June 3rd, and I don't know, August, I think is the other one, where each one will be fighting. I mean, if you lose your other one, you could fight for 3rd place. But if you lose that one, you're fighting for like 5th or something. And, of course, the biggest event happening this year. Doesn't even matter if Fury or Usyk gets made, or Spence versus Crawford, or Canelo versus Benavidez. That doesn't matter. Tank Davis will be fighting Ryan Garcia in Las Vegas, Nevada, April 22nd. Showtime pay-per-view and the Zone pay-per-view. But anyways, hope to catch you in the next one.